Welcome back, everyone, to our Abhidhamma study class with Sayadaw Paṭivedha Linkara. This is class 23, and we'll be going over the introduction to mental factors, or Cetasikas, and this will be the second part of that topic. Before we begin, we would like to ask Bande to open with Namo Tassa. Bande, would you like to lead us in saying Namo Tassa?
Yeah. Let's start our today's Abhidhamma study, reciting Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Thank you very much, Bande, for leading us in Namo Tassa. We will now begin the Abhidhamma Lecture section of the class. Yado, if you would like to begin.
Okay, so let's read. I have explained about the mental factors. In Pali, it is called Cetasika. So, yeah, I think you remember what are the characteristics of mental factors. You know, how many characteristics of mental factor? Do you remember?
Four.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. So if mentalities, you know, the mentalities also we can analyze consciousness and mental factors. From the beginning, we consider that the inanimate things, animate living beings. So living beings have the mentalities and materialities. So their mentalities are two ultimate reality, two kinds of ultimate reality, Citta and Cetasika. Right. So the Citta is only one type, like this, but according to the associated mental factors and according to their function, the consciousness is classified into 89 or 121 types. And for the another aspect of mentalities, so that is called Cetasika. So translated as mental factors or mental concomitant, or sometimes it's called mental states. But to recognize the reality as a Cetasika, we need to examine by the 4 characteristics. Yeah, and they arise together. Yeah, so arise together. If any mentality arises together, it is one. It has one characteristic to call the mental factor, but it is not enough, because some the karma-born matter and also the mind-born matters, they are also arising together like this. And so we have to check, find another characteristic, ceasing together. So arising and ceasing together. And as I has mentioned in the previous lesson, some materialities have a longer lifespan up to how many mind movement? Some
17 or 51 sub-mind movements.
Right, 17 mind movements equivalent to the 51 sub-mind movement, because each mind movement has the 3 sub-movements. Yeah, in this way, we understand maturity. Most of the maturities have a longer duration or longer lifespan than the mentalities. Okay, so in this, what the second characteristic of or season together. So this maturity, most of the maturity cannot be considered as already excluded from the Cetasika under the name of Cetasika. And still have some, because the some we call the Kaya Vinyati and Vaci Vinyati. These are called the two intimation. They are produced by the mind, so mindful matters. And also they have the same lifespan. Their duration is only 3 sub-moments, same as the one mind movement. That's why after checking by 2 characteristics, still these 2 intimation maturities are also can be included, or they arise together, they cease together. That's why the third characteristic need to explain, that is taking the same object. So by this characteristic, all the maturities cannot be included, so all are excluded, because all of the maturity cannot take any object, because according to its ultimate nature, no maturity can take object. So only the mentality can take the object. In this way, we can identify the mental factors. What is mean mental factors? And what is mean Cetasika? Okay, so in this lesson, I'm going to explain the classification of Cetasika in the different types. So, okay, here the altogether 52 mental factors. Can you see the screen? Or small one? Which one you see?
Sunday we see the Inya Samana Cetasika slide.
Yeah, this you see the bigger one, or with the notes.
And without any notes, I see the whole
It's
slide.
good. Yeah, so the whole slide is better. Yeah, I just want to make sure. Yeah, I'm sharing the bigger slide. Okay, so here are 52 mental factors, and the name is called the Dripanyasa Cetasika. So okay, so Dripanyasa Cetasika. Dripanyasa, Drip is 2. Panyasa is the 50. In Pali, the counting is 50. So Dripanyasa Cetasika, the 52 mental factors. So the past group is Anyasamana Cetasika. So here you see the double N with the sign. So it is, we call the Nya. So Anya Samana. So it is translated as the ethically relevant factors. Sometimes that it's not easy to memorize the translation. The Anya Samana, the Pali word will be more difficult. So, but if we make any relationship with this, with someone, that we need to remember the name in the same way. If we study about the Abhidhamma, that we need the name. This is also, yeah. So that's why, and we have to try to remember the name. So Anya Samana, the 2 part, Anya and Samana. The translation is ethically very factors. Is actually it is different. quite different from the original meaning of the word. Anya samana. Anya is the other. Samana is a same or similarity, or we can say that. This is the original meaning. Anya samana, same as the others. The others is mean, okay, I will explain later. So just now, you just need to take a note. Anya, the others, and samana, same as, yeah, so same as the others. And translation, take a note, but you know, it's not exactly the same as the or Anya samana, but it also can give the meaning representing the first group of Cetasika. The ethically reference to their, you know, the wholesome, unwholesome, like this. So something good and bad. And also the abhyagata indeterminate also. You know, that. So this ethically variable factors altogether 13. Yes. Sorry. Okay, the first group, 13, right? 13 mental factors. 13 mental factors you have to remember. Okay, yeah, I want to use this one. Okay. Yeah, 13 mental factors are called Anya Samana. But actually, we can classify only into 3 groups. So in this lesson, try to remember by the name and number. Name and number. After that, we can continue our study based on this understanding and this based on this knowledge. And second group is Akusala Cetasika. So this is easy. Unwholesome mental factors, together 14. And Sobhana Cetasika is beautiful factors, so 25. 3 groups. Okay, so roughly we explained that the Anya is the other and Samana is common to or same as here, common to others, or there's similar or same as the others. Okay, in this case, except the Anya Samana, the remaining 2 groups, let's see. The one is Akusala, wholesome, and the other is beautiful, right? So Akusala, we can say the Akusala is non-beautiful, and beautiful. So because not only Akusala, the other consciousness, except the beautiful one. You remember any consciousness group except the Akusala, which is not beautiful.
$12.
Any other consciousness group? No, not Akusala, but it is also not beautiful, right?
Ahituka.
Right, Ahituka, yeah. So Ahituka consciousness also associated with the some mental factors. That's why we don't say the Akusala and beautiful only. We just say the beautiful and non-beautiful, right? So here, beautiful and non-beautiful. Non-beautiful are Asobhana and Asobhana. So it can include the Akusala and Ahituka, 2 groups. So when this first group of Anya Samana consciousness arise with the beautiful consciousness, we cannot say they are always beautiful, because sometimes they arise together with the non-beautiful consciousness, with the Akusala or the Ahituka. In the same way, when they arise together with the non-beautiful consciousness, we cannot decide that, oh, they are just non-beautiful, because sometimes they arise with the beautiful. That's why, and the first group of Anya Samana consciousness, mental factors are considered as in both sides. Like this, you know, that in two group, some people, they just stand in one side. We can say, oh, he's from that group, he's from the other group, like this. But some people, sometimes they join to the first group, and sometimes to another group. Yeah. So at that time, when they join to the first group, those who stand only one side, they are thinking, oh, they go another place also. Yeah, that's why, and they seem as the outsider, like this. And if they go to the another group also, they are recognized the same, not insider. In the same way, the Anya Samana, when they arise with the beautiful, still they are considered as they are similar to the other group, non-beautiful. And when they arise with the non-beautiful also, they're still considered as sometimes beautiful, like this. So that's why they get this name of Anya Samana. Anya Samana. So here, ethically variable factors, it means, you know, when they arise with akusala, or they are not totally akusala. Sometimes they arise with the kusala as well, like this. Sometimes indeterminate. In the same way, when they arise with the kusala also, like this. That's why English translation come in the ethically and variable factors. Maybe a little bit confused about this translation and this meaning. Just doesn't matter, just to give the name to the group. Okay, so here, how are they variable? So in wholesome citta, they become the wholesome. Associated with the wholesome consciousness, actually, according to their nature, they don't have the beautiful nature, or they don't have wholesome nature, or they don't have unwholesome nature. But when they arise with the wholesome nature, wholesome consciousness, and they become wholesome, and with the unwholesome, and they become unwholesome, and indeterminate also the same. But actually, still, original meaning of the name, still they are considered as the same as the other group. This is called the Anya Samana. But this explanation comes in the comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. It's not exactly the same as we explain in the traditional way of teaching. So in traditional way of teaching, as I explained, according to the name. So Anya and Samana. Samana is same. But here, this translation is taken from the Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi's comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma. So you can follow this explanation, how they become the variables. But for the understanding, you need to keep following the name Anya and Samana. Okay, so akusala, or the second group, akusala cetasika. Yeah, you can take a note here. They just associated with the unwholesome consciousness. So when we study the consciousness, classification of consciousness, we divide it into different groups. So akusala, ahituka, and the remaining sobhana, like this. So in that case, these 14 mental factors, 14 cetasika, arise only with one group. Only with one group of akusala. They never arise with the ahituka or the sobhana. So this is important, if you can take a note in this way, And later, when we find how many Cetasika arise with the Akusala consciousness, and how many Cetasika arise with the Ahituka or Sobhana, become easier. For those who did not take any notes or any rules and regulation of the association of manifestos, and it is hard to count. And now from the beginning, just take a note here. Akusala 14 arise with only Akusala consciousness. Okay, so here the first 13 can arise with the Akusala, Ahituka, and they're beautiful because they are variable. They can apply in every group. But for the Akusala group, they can apply only in the Akusala group. So if we consider about the Ahituka, we don't need to consider this group. So how many manifesta we just need to consider only in two groups, or for the Kusala side, only two groups. So at most it can be 38 at most, because Akusala manifesta, Akusala Cetasika will never arise with the Kusala consciousness. And the third group, Sobhana Cetasika, beautiful feathers, 25 beautiful feathers, arise only with the beautiful consciousness. They never arise non-beautiful consciousness. So if we consider about how many manifestas arise together with the Akusala consciousness, we need to consider only two groups of 1 and 2. Because the Sobhana, they never arise with the Akusala or Ahituka. This is a very important point, that later on, after the classification of the manifestas, we will continue to the association method. Association method, how many manifesta arise with the consciousness. Like this. So in this class, you need to make sure. So in the three group of Cetasika, the first group applied to every consciousness, every group of consciousness, 13. And second group only to Akusala. The third group only to beautiful consciousness. So how many beautiful consciousness? You remember?
59.
Right, 59. Yeah. In short is 59. In large is 91, right? Right, good. In this class, our participants are very, they're very active and can memorize many and can understand a lot. So very good. So let's continue. Just make sure that the first group apply to every consciousness, and second group only to Akusala, and that third group only Sobhana. So there's no Cetasika apply to only Ahituka, right? Only Ahituka. So for Ahituka, we just need to consider only in first group, because Ahituka is not Akusala, and also it is not Sobhana. That is why if we count the manifestas associated with the Ahituka group, Ahituka consciousness, we just need to consider only in 13, the first group. This is the important point. Without knowing these rules, this principle, if you study the association method, it seems very difficult. Many of the Abhidhamma learners, they're thinking, very difficult because they don't keep the important point before they study. That's why I just I want to explain, and I just want to remind you to keep the important point in mind and continue. Not that difficult. And okay, so now 52 Cetasikas are divided into 3 groups, and I had explained, and these 3 groups apply how this group apply into different group of consciousness. Okay, so let's see. The first one, Anya Samana group 13, is divided into two groups, subdivided into 2 groups. Sabba, Citta, Sadharana. Sabba is all. The Pali word Sabba, the whole or all, the whole or all. Citta, consciousness. Sadharana is related to or connected to. So these seven mental fetters are related to all consciousness. By following the name, you understand. These 7 consciousness related to all consciousness. 7 mental fetters, 7 Cetasika connected to all consciousness. That's why they are translated as universal. Universal, right? So universal mental fetter 7. And another group, Beginnaga. This Beginnaga is very complicated word. In the Pali word itself is very complicated. Beginnaga, how we say them, they're like this in the third chapter of Abhidhamma Sangha is Beginnaga Sangha. But there is translated as the miscellaneous. Yeah. Miscellaneous. It means there is consist of different kinds. Different kinds. So here the meaning of Beginnaga also like this. There is consist of different kinds. We cannot say it is akusala or ahituka or kusala like this because it's mixed together. So these 6 mental fetters, they apply into different groups, to the akusala, to the ahituka, to the beautiful, but they never stand in one side. Not only akusala, not only beautiful, not only ahituka, and also they don't associate with the whole akusala. Sometimes, and some part of akusala they connected with, and sometimes and some part of ahituka, and also the same sometimes and also some part of beautiful they connected. That's why these 6 fetters are given the name of the Beginnaga. Beginnaga. So the meaning, original meaning, you have to do. Otherwise, here Akrishna is not matched with the Beginnaga. But for myself, I don't know which one is better, which one is better than the Akrishna. That's why I just keep continuing following the Bhikkhu body. But as I know, this Akrishna is not same as the Beginnaga, the meaning of Beginnaga. The Pali word itself is quite beautiful. But here, the word occasional, as far as I understand, it just mention the the sometimes it associated with this consciousness and sometimes not like this. But for the variation of the consciousness in the different consciousness, it cannot cover by this one. Anyhow, we just keep continuing using this translation of Akrishna fetters for the Beginnaga, as we don't have the better one. Okay, so now we understand the Anya Samana group divided into 2. The first group is Citta Sadharana. These 7 fetters associated with all consciousness. So whenever consciousness arises, these 7 fetters arise. No exception. No exception, and never. And there's no any consciousness, any types of consciousness arise without these mental fetters. Whenever consciousness arises, these mental fetters arise. That is why at the beginning, I introduce the group of mentalities. The smallest group must be consist of eight mentalities, consciousness and 7 mental factors. So 8 mentalities at the very beginning. You can check that. So this refers to these Savajita Sararana mental factors. They always arise with consciousness. Okay, so these 6 sometimes arise together, sometimes not arising. We can say. Okay, so let's see the first group that are arising, always arising together with the consciousness. In every mind moment, these mental factors arising in your mind. Very important. So the first one is Phassa, contact. Translation, Phassa. At the beginning, better to try to memorize the name in Pali Phassa. Phassa, Vedana, Sanya, Chirana, Ekagata, right? Jividendriya, and Manasikara. Okay, so again, Phassa, Vedana, Sanya, Chirana, Ekagata, Jividendriya, and Manasikara. So this is our volunteer. I think better to follow, better to repeat my pronunciation, because sometimes if you are thinking that it is hard to pronounce and you give up to pronounce properly, then later, if you hear that word, you don't understand, because for yourself, you didn't pronounce that word. That's why I said I like to suggest you to try to pronounce. Okay, let's count it. The Savajita Sararana Cetasika 7. Phassa.
Phassa,
Yeah. Vedana.
Vedana,
Sanya.
Sanya,
Cetana.
Cetana,
Ekagata.
Ekagata,
Jividendriya.
Jividendriya,
Right. Manasikara.
Manasikara.
Right. Very good. So it's not that hard. You're just trying to repeat it, and later on it's familiar and easy. So in our traditional study, we just recite the Pali. Although we sometimes the Samnira, they don't understand what is Phassa, what is Vedana, but they know what Phassa, Vedana, Sanya, Ekagata, like this. That Phassa, Vedana, Sanya, Chirana, Ekagata, Jividendriya, Manasikara, and they can count. Okay, so translation, the contact, feeling. In this case also, just translation, you don't need to consider something, just try to remember what is translation of which one. Phassa, contact, Vedana, feeling, Sanya, perception, Chirana, volition, Ekagata, one-pointedness, Jividendriya, mental life faculty. So there are 2 life faculty. One is mental life faculty and the other is material life faculties. It is included under the 28 rupa. So here you need to take a note. Jividendriya will be 2 types: mental factors and maturities. And Manasikara, attention. Okay, so I will explain later the nature and why they are called Phassa or like this. What is the nature or characteristic of Vedana like this? I will explain. In this lesson, I would like you to remember the classification of mental factors, Cetasika, into different types, different group, and in which group what consist of. And second group is Pakinaka. So it has the 6. And the 6 mental factors, and Vidaka, Vichara, Adhimokkha, Viriya, Piti, and Chanda in Pali. Okay, so Vidaka is translated as initial application. So here 2 application. And Vidaka initial application and vichara, sustained application. So two application, vitakka and vichara. And adhimokha, decision. And viriya, energy. Piti is zest, and chanda, desire. Okay, so please follow me to recite the name of the mental factor. Vitakka,
Vitakka,
vichara,
Vichara,
adhimokha,
Adhimokha,
viriya,
Viriya,
piti,
Piti,
chanda.
Chanda.
Very good. And sometimes here in our Burmese version, and we usually use a viriya with the long pronunciation, viriya. That is, but in Sri Lanka version, it is viriya with a short one. It doesn't matter, that we know this is short or long. Viriya or viriya is refers to that mental fetters. Okay. Okay, so these 6 mental fetters are occasional fetters. Sometimes it's associated with the specific consciousness. Sometimes no. Yeah, they don't. Okay, so here common to all consciousness. So associated with 89 or 191 and 121. Or no. So in this case, if someone is thinking that, oh, I have no feeling. Right? Well, I don't feel anything. I have no feeling. Oh, it is not correct according to Abhidhamma. There must be feeling as long as you have mentalities. All right, because feeling is universal. Also perception, sanya. Actually, you don't recognize what it means. And also here you see the volition, jirana. So in case of volition, most of you remember volition, jirana is with the or gamma, right? Gamma and jirana. But here volition is universal. Only when it arises with the kusala and akusala, or this gamma. So when it arises, the vipaka, abhyagata, it's not gamma. Right? But all the gamma reference to volition, the work of volition. But not all volition are considered as gamma. Here in this case, as the volition mentioned as the, the volition is mentioned as the savajita saradana. When you are sleeping, very deep sleeping, that at that moment, bhavanga consciousness arises. It is resultant, vipaka. So at that time also volition rising in your mentality, but because it arises with the resultant consciousness, it cannot produce good or bad result. Then it is not called gamma. So you understand, okay, some volition are not called gamma because they cannot produce. They themselves being produced by the gamma with the resultant consciousness. But still volition it is specific function to perform. I will explain later, right? So the function of volition will be explained. And one-pointedness, ekagata. Any one of you know the other name of ekagata?
Samadhi.
Right, very good. The samadhi is, when we learn about the jhana fetter, that ekagata is one of the jhana fetters. Each, in each jhana is essential fetter, ekagata. I explained that referring to samadhi level. But one-pointedness is universal, you see that. So, one-pointedness is samadhi or universal. So every time we have samadhi, right? Actually, it is not. Only the Ekagata. So Ekagata here we can divide it Eka, Eka, Da. So Eka refers to the object. Eka is referring to the object. So Eka is one. So one object. But here one-pointedness is much better. But I just want to explain referring to the one object. So if you see something, the collected item, how to say, you see the collection of the book in the bookshelf. At that time, you say, I see the bookshelf. So your object is bookshelf, but it has many books. Sometimes if you just look at only one book and reading the name of the book on that box, written in that box, then you don't see the other books. Then at this time you see I see the books. The books are comprehensive manual Abhidhamma I see on the bookshelf. At the moment, your object is comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma, that books only. So it means the one-pointedness is like this, focusing on the object. It doesn't matter that object is a single item or the collection of the item, different items, but this is considered as a one object. So the function of one-pointedness is like this: is collect all mental fetters and conscious knowledge to take one object, the image of one object. This is the function of one-pointedness. Yeah, if there's sometimes the feeling going to the one object and then the perception go to another object, it's very, very complicated. But not to be so, the one-pointedness is working then. That's why every mind movement, they have the same object, one-pointedness. This is the work of one-pointedness, Ekagata. But just doing so, this function is not related to the samadhi, but similar. In samadhi, consistency is important. Taking this by this process, this object, and then the following process continuing, and then continue later on. The keeping on only one object, and the concentration level is raising up. So now you have to take a note here. One-pointedness is equivalent to samadhi, but not all one-pointedness is called samadhi. Right? Yeah. It's not many. Just a short note will be very helpful. And Jivitindriya, this keep the mentality alive. That's why. So this is considered as the life faculty. So in two life faculties are mentalities and materialities, keeping the beings alive. So here, this is the universal. This applies to every mind movement. So every time mentality arise, this consider. Then attention, manasikara. And later, when we talk about the nature, specific nature characteristic, we will explain more about the attention and also the one-pointedness. Okay, so in this lesson, trying to remember that the enumeration of the Cetasika in each group and trying to translate. The other words, later in the future lesson, if I explain referring to the which one specific mental fetters, if you remember, you can easily continue your thinking, following my explanation. If you don't study, okay, know that I don't like memorization for the side. Later, that. If I continue explanation, you will confuse which one, that belong to which group. By this way, many lost their study thinking or difficult, but actually is the thing is just to make sure the basics understanding to keep in mind. And the second group, this Vittaka, Vichara, Adhimaka, Viriya, Piti, Chanda, they associate with the different groups and not always. It's not the same as the first group. The first group always associated whenever consciousness right they arise together. And for the second group, it's not like this. They are associated with all group. We can say that with all group, but occasionally only. Sometimes they arise. Okay, it's a Vittaka, initial application, and Vichara, sustained application. And these two are explained by the example. And do you really remember which example? Just name or example, it's okay.
They're jhana factors.
Yes. Yes, what is the example? Compared to what? With the flying of the bee, right? Yeah, the bee flying and flying to the flowers. Yeah, like this. If we tap the gum, the first time, and then it's echo like this. So with the guy Vichara. Okay, no problem. So a Adhimaka decision. This also, this just a function of the mentality. It cannot, make the specific decision. And I will do, or I will not do. I like or I don't like. This is not, this kind of decision is not done by this Adhimaka. This is just a small part, the very short one. And that's why your decision is just the part of the mentality, the function of mentality, just know the energy, viriya, and piti, sex, and joyful, and chanda, desire. So here, although this desire, you should not confuse with the lobha, desire. Sometimes, the lobha and attachment also translated as the desire. And this is the English word, the complicated sometimes. And this chanda is different from the lobha. Lobha have the attachment, nature of attachment to cling to. But for chanda, it's not like this. So because of the chanda can apply to akusala and sometimes to the kusala side also. Sometimes the other heart also have the chanda, but it's not attachment. Not what desire, the common sense of desire, different. So we have to keep in mind this kind of meaning. We have to understand, and desire does not mean akusala desire, it's just common desire. So with all types, this associated with all types of consciousness, but only in particular types of consciousness, not in all. Oh, it's complicated, right? But not all the times. Okay, let's see another group. So I will skip this in this lesson. We will come back next time. And here, because I want to introduce all kinds of all kinds of mental feather. This is not sure, but I will send to you. So here, akusala, cetasika, unwholesome mental feather 14. Just to count, the moha, the vichikicha, is the 14 mental fetters are called akusala. So in order to make easy to remember and divide it into different groups. So the 4 mental fetters leaded by them are moha. It's called the moha chatuka. So moha chatuka. Chatu is 4. So moha chatuka is delusion quartet. Yeah, it's 4 mental fetters leaded by the moha. Okay, so let's see what are 4. Moha, ahirika, anuttapa, uddhacca. So can you repeat? Moha, ahirika,
Ahirika,
Anuttapa,
Anuttapa,
Udaja.
Udaja.
Good. So moha is translated as delusion. The delusion. So that's why mohamula is delusion rooted consciousness. Then ahirika is shamelessness, but here of wrongdoings, same shamelessness of wrongdoings, to do something wrong. No shameful feeling, no shameful. So that is shamelessness of wrongdoing, is ahirika. And anuttapa, fearlessness of wrongdoing. So I say that if someone have the ahirika and anuttapa, these are the base of the akusala. Whatever wrongdoing he can do, she can do. And udaja, restlessness or agitation. So here, moha, ahirika, anuttapa, udaja. These are four feathers occur in all 12 unwholesome consciousness. Now you see the all unwholesome consciousness, or sabha, right? Pali word for all is sabha, and akusala. And related to is saradana. That's why we can say this group, sabha kusala saradana, sabha akusala saradana, 3 wa. The first group, akusala. Moha, ahirika, anuttapa, and we can give it 2 names, which is moha chituka, because it is led by the moha. And on the other hand, because they arise with all 12 unwholesome consciousness, and now we can say they are universal to unwholesome consciousness. That's why we can name them sabha kusala, sabha akusala. So connected each other, 2 are sabha kusala. Sabha kusala sadharana. Right? You know that I will share this note, and you can take a name. You can write down name here. Sabha kusala sadharana. Okay. Then another group leader by their lobha. So lobha, ditthi, mana, 3. So Greek trait, Lord 3. In Pali we make it short, Lord 3. Lobha 3. So lobha and 3 is 3. So these 3, what is this? The nature, these 3 feathers occur only in lobha mula. And these are some very important information. So after reading this note, okay, you will have them, and a very important information to find out how many consciousness, how many mental feathers arise with the which consciousness, right? This will be interesting if we continue studying that. Okay, and here 3 feathers, lobha, ditthi, mana, they arise only. We don't say with all lobha mula. We don't say. We just say that they arise only 3 with the only lobha mula. It means they don't arise with the other 2 group or dosa mula and moha mula. As they are under the wholesome feathers, it is sure they don't arise with the other group of consciousness. They will arise with the only akusala consciousness, right? And another 4 leaded by the dosa. So dosa, isa, machariya, kukucha. So dosa, hatred, isa, envy, machariya, avarice or stinginess, and kukucha, worry or remorse. These 4 groups occur only in dosa mula. So only in lobha mula, only in dosa mula, they have a different nature. And when I introduce how they arise, the mentalities and materiality, mentality arise, consciousness and mental fetters arise together. At that time, I include all the mental fetters with the akusala consciousness. At that moment, in 27, right? Now, we continue for the classification how they arise. And now we see the dosa group, dosa, isa, machuriya, kukucha. They arise only with the dosa mula. It does not mean they arise whenever dosa mula arise. It does not mean that. They arise sometimes. Okay, then the other three, and we divide it into two groups, Tina, Metta, together, because they share arising with the prompted citta of Lobha Mula and Dosa Mula. So how many prompted citta in Lobha Mula?
4.
4. In Dosa Mula?
1.
1, yes. So these are in Pali, what is the name of Pali prompted citta?
Sasankarika.
Right, Sasankarika. So these two feather or Tina and Metta arise with these 5 Sasankarika citta or akusala. Okay, very good. And the last one, Vichikicha, related to only Mohamula. So Mohamula also 2 consciousness. What are the Mohamula 2 consciousness?
Restlessness and the
Uddhaka.
other one is doubt.
Yeah, Vichikicha Sahagata and Vichikicha Sambyuta and Uddhacha Sambyuta, only 2. They are also, that arise with only the Vichikicha, only one type of consciousness it arises with. Okay, so now we know the Akusala group in 4 division and their translation. Here, Lobha is greed, and Diti, round view, Mana, conceit. Okay. So let's read together by the name of Pali is okay, that. Moha,
Moha.
Ahirika,
Ahirika.
Anodapa,
Andapa.
Uddhacha,
Uddhacha.
Lobha,
Lobha.
Diti,
Diti.
Mana,
Mana.
Dosa,
Dosa.
Isa,
Isa.
Machariya,
Machariya.
Kukucha,
Kukucha.
Tina,
Tina.
Metta,
Metta.
Vichikicha.
Vichikicha.
Okay, so the last one is Sobhana Cetasika group, beautiful group. So there are 25 beautiful Metta feathers. They arise together with only beautiful consciousness, Sobhana Citta. Okay, so the first group, this also divided into 4 groups. So the first group is called Sobhana Sadharana. So here, Sadharana is connected to Sobhana. That's why universal. So there are 3 types of universal now, right? One group is Sabhajita Sadharana, universal to all, 7 mental feathers. Another group, I has explained, Akusala Sadharana, universal to Akusala. How many mental feathers? Universal to Akusala. Right, 4. Right, Moha, Ahirika, Aya, Anodapa, Uddhacha, right. So here, another universal to beautiful. This is very important information. If you miss universal, you will miss a very, very important group. Okay, so if we count how many mental feathers arise together and we just keep the universal first, then we add some time, the equation now, like this. Okay, so Sobhana Sararana, beautiful, universal, beautiful mental feathers, 19. It means that whenever your wholesome consciousness arises, these 19 arise together. Whenever resultants, the beautiful resultant consciousness arise also the same. And 19 mental feathers arise together. And here you see the how many. So this 19 occurs in all 59 or 91 beautiful consciousness. So if you pick up any of these beautiful consciousness, you just add 19 must be at least, right? Then you add another one. And you know you have another universal. You should not miss. So universal to all. How many?
7.
7. That's why if the consciousness is any of these beautiful consciousness, so at least 26 you got it, right? At least 26. And you just need to add more. In this way, you can get the specific number of mental factors that arise with the consciousness, beautiful consciousness. And another group is Viddhati, the abstinence 3 Viddhatis. So they arise all with the 2 group, 8 wholesome sense pure Mahagusala and 8 supramundane consciousness, Kutara, in mundane wholesome. So here Viddhati, abstinence, usually emphasize in the sila, abstinence sila, right? So they arise with the wholesome consciousness. It means for Arahat mind, what kind of consciousness arise? In the Arahat process, yes, Kriya, right? Kriya consciousness after the attainment of Arahatship. And other than the arising of wholesome Kriya, functional consciousness, right? At the moment, there's no Viddhati, right? Because by seeing this, you see that no Viddhati. The Viddhati cannot arise in Arahat mind, right? Okay, so let's see another group. This is just information, because very important information before we classify into the mental factor, classify mental factor into detailed study. And this important principle, and you need to repeat it again and again. And the third group is Apamanya Cetasika, illimitable. Apamanya comes from not pamana. Pamana is measurement. So measurement, something out of the measurement. Out of the measurement, you cannot measure. In the same way, we can say that you cannot limit without any limit. This is called the Apamanya. So illimitable. So these 2 mental factors, these 2 Cetasika occur in 28 Citta. So you cannot remember all the consciousness connected to each group, but I want you to keep and read again and again. After classification, we will continue. You will be ready. Okay, so this 28, great wholesome Mahagusala, same as this one, and great functional. Oh, here, the functional also, but here no supramundane. Only the suffering consciousness. First 4 jhana, the first jhana 3, second jhana 3, third jhana 3, fourth jhana 3. So here these 2 Apamanya not connected to the 5th jhana. Not connected to 5th jhana. And supramundane, no. Because it's obvious. This is beautiful mental factor. It does not connected to the non-beautiful consciousness of the akusala or ahetuka. Okay, so the last one, Panyendriya Cetasika, the wisdom faculty. And another name, do you remember another name of wisdom faculty? Panyendriya, what is another name?
Amoha.
Right, Amoha roots, Amoha roots is same as. And also the meaning is same, they sometimes use the jnana, right? Jnana sampayutta, that is. So here, this occurs in the 47 consciousness associated with the knowledge, because the panya is without knowledge, it can no panya. That's why. So here, knowledge representing the jnana, Pali word jnana sampayutta. Oh, so do you remember any other name for the 47 consciousness? We have explained in conclusion of the consciousness chapter, according to the roots. So,
three rooted.
right, three roots have
Aloba, Adoda, Amoha.
right. They are called the Tihetuka, right?
Tihetuka.
Yeah, Tihetuka 47 connected to the Panindriya. So to introduce the Manifestas in group, and this is enough. As in, the next time we will study about the nature of the Manifestas. We'll study about what is the Tassa and what is the Vedana, like this. We will continue studying. Before we study in detail, and we should know the general principle of the Manifestas and general explanation of the Manifestas. So let's review the 52 Manifestas divided into how many groups?
Three.
The first group is
Ethically variable.
in Pali, the name.
Inya Samana.
Right, Anya Samana. Right, Anya Samana. How many?
13.
13. Okay, good. And the second group, what is the second group?
Akusala Sadhara.
Akusala.
14.
Akusala, right now, not Sararana yet, right? Akusala, Cetasika,
Cetasika. 14.
14, right? Very good. And the last group, how many? What is the last group?
Beautiful Cetasika.
Beautiful.
Sadhara.
Yes, Bhavana Cetasika. How many?
25.
25. Okay, right. So just trying to, because I as far as I know, we don't have the question, so we can review this lesson. And so the first group divided into two. What is the subgroup of the Anya Samana? Sabha.
Universal.
Universal. Right. Sabha, Citta, Saradhana, 7.
7.
And there are, what is another group?
Occasional.
Pakinaka, right. Okay. Pakinaka 6. So Sabha, Citta, Saradhana, 7. Pakinaka 6. Become the
Inya Samana.
Anya Samana 13, right. Very good. And for Akusala group, we can divide it into, there are how many?
4.
4. Okay, 4. And the first group leader by Moha.
Satoka.
Moha. So what are these 4 leader by the Moha?
Moha, Ahirika, Nudaba, Odija.
Loba try.
Okay, so after that Loba tried the 3 Loba group. So what are the Loba? Loba.
Mana.
Then
Dosa. Asa.
Macharia, Kukucha.
Right. Oh, very good. And the remaining 3 there.
Thought and top.
Dinamida and
Vicikicca, right. Good. So if you can remember in this way, that what are the akusala Manifestas. Very important, whenever dosa arrive, this is akusala. Whenever loba, whenever the vicikicca arrives, this is akusala. Because this belongs to the akusala group. As I mentioned, that consciousness itself we cannot identify. And seeing the Manifesta, you can identify this consciousness is akusala. Right? Consciousness has the characteristic of knowing the object. So we cannot identify. Like this, that if you put the color pointer to to the water, the water turns to the specific color. Because of that, the color found there. And this water is, this is water, just water. And like this, okay, by seeing that, this is this which color water. So when akusala mental feather arise together with specific consciousness, that becomes the akusala citta. Loba mula, because it's associated with the loba as a root, sometimes associated with the deity around you. But the other common, the phassa, contact, or feeling, they are common, we cannot identify by them. Because they common to every consciousness. By seeing Vedana, this is just Vedana, we cannot say this, whatever, this is good or bad, like this. Or by seeing Loba, this is unwholesome because this is Loba is there, and Dosa is there, like this. Okay. For the last group, we divided into how many? Or Sobana group?
4.
4.
19,
Group
3,
19, right? 19, 3,
2,
2,
1.
1, right? Good. And the 19 is common to every which consciousness?
Wholesome consciousness.
Beautiful consciousness.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. Wholesome and beautiful, different, right? So all beautiful, including the resultant and functional at this right.
Function.
So the beautiful consciousness. Whenever any of beautiful consciousness arises, we get the 19 from there, 7 from the universal. Okay, like this. And okay, 3 abstractions related to only 16,
15.
right? 16 consciousness of the mundane 8 and supramundane 8. And the 2 illimitative Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma easy to remember. If you wish, you can take a note. The Abhidhamma is Karuna and Mudita. Yeah, so these 2 together with the 28 consciousness, right? The last one was Wisdom faculty with how many?
47.
Right, 47 Tihituka or Jnana Sampayutta, right? So yeah, it's enough, it's more than enough, right, to remember many information in this lesson. But next lesson, we will continue emphasizing in the specific group. Anya Samana, we will study first. After that, Akusala and Savana. Then we will count. After that, that different from the other teacher, Abhidhamma teacher. I will ask you how many mental feather can arise with the Akusala. Commonly 27, right? Like this. Then, if we choose Dosa Mula, like this, that you can count by yourself. You can count by yourself if you can keep this principle in your mind. Today, I will send you the notes, and yeah, the organizer will share you, and you print out, and you just try to study with them. And later on, that maybe it will take 3 weeks more, because I will explain the Anyasamana, Akusala, and Sobana. After 3 weeks, I will ask you to count. And this is a kind of, if you can count, it's kind of fun. If you cannot count and I continue explanation and you confuse, okay. Okay, so I'm going to stop here my explanation. If you have question, and let's continue discussion.
That concludes John, did you want to say something?
Yes, John.